Hey everyone, it's Veiled Shot back at it with an Awaken Chaos Hero video, and this one I'm going to be going over one of the most asked questions I get all the time, and that is, who do you 6-star next? I kind of broke it down into 3 steps, and these are just my general kind of steps that I go through when I am trying to figure out what I want to 6-star next. So if you are enjoying these videos, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and head into my collection. So right now I have about 12 6-stars, and obviously this is not exactly what you should be following every time, because I kind of either built units for testing, or some of my units were built early on when we haven't really tested out the game. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into step 1, and that is when you're trying to clear campaign, and this is mainly for earlier game players, you're going to want a 6-star 8 damage dealer. They are going to give you the most bang for your buck, which we will kind of explain later on. And you're going to want to 6-star, focus on 6-starring a main team that you're going to be starting to go into dungeons. It'll help you really diversify the amount of content that you can complete, especially endless trials. If you get that one main team, you can have, a mix of affinities. It doesn't really matter. You don't really need to go full water or full wood, for example, to plan for Queen. Just get that first team so you can actually complete as much content as you can, including Void Tower, endless trials, and campaign. So the second step is, after I've kind of gone through Mythic and farmed up my XP and my glyphs, I want to figure out what content I want to complete next. So I highly suggest everyone, outside of completing Endless Trials and a little bit of Void Tower, I highly suggest everyone start going for Queen of Tides. I think it's one of the easiest dungeons to complete. I think it's way easier than Tulpa, even easier than Ash, unless you have a really solid team. But I think Queen is the best dungeon. So let's just assume you're going for Queen. Well, then what characters do I want to 6-star? Well, if you're going for Queen, you're going to want to build the free-to-play team, assumingly, unless you have some amazing characters. So that means you're going to 6-star Santis. Now, if you're 6-starring Santis, the reason why you're 6-starring Santis is because she's a little squishy, and she really wants that extra stats. Is she a particularly great 6-star character? Not necessarily. She doesn't actually get too much out of her 6-star, but because she's so crucial to the team, and because she's one of the best poisoners in the game, she's an amazing 6-star, and really worth it to bring that team to the next level. For my Queen team, personally, I 6-star Mythasia and Santis because Mythasia gets extra max HP, which increases her healing, which we'll go over the step 3 and why I think she's an amazing 6-star. And then Santis just needs the extra tankiness. And then I also have 2 5-stars who I run on that team, Radira and Hakrin, because they don't actually need the extra stats to survive, and my team runs perfectly fine. So that is the second step, is what content do I want to complete next? And then kind of figuring out who can I have to 6-star and who I don't really have to 6-star in my third step, and that is 3 mini steps in that third step, and that is who deals damage, who has scaling abilities, and who is fine at 5 stars. So first off, who's dealing damage? Well, Santis is dealing damage in this team, although it's a little unique because she has poison, so she's a bad example. So for this, I'm going to actually refer to someone like Nathalia, for example. Why do we 6-star damage dealers first? And this kind of go back to the first step, and why I want damage dealers 6 stars absolutely first. The first ones I want to 6-star in the entire game. And it's because they have damaging abilities. So damaging abilities have base scaling depending on the ability used, and it's also based on the base attack. So basically, when you 6-star a unit, your basic attack is going to go up, which increases the amount of stats you're getting from your gear, which also increases the damage you're getting from your abilities. So by 6-starring someone, you're going to drastically increase the damage you're dealing, which is exactly why you're using them in the first place. And then that kind of leads into the second step, because damage dealers love 6-stars because it increases their ability effectiveness and their overall effectiveness. Well, then we look at who has scaling abilities in general. That is the second step. So for example, let's look at Mythasia. Why did I say she's an excellent 6-star? Well, her second ability scales, the healing scales for max HP along with her third ability. Let's look at another one. Like Hakrin, who I don't actually have 6-star, but I didn't need to. His, trick here is grants a team-wide defense bonus equal to 10% of the defense rating. So by increasing him to 6 stars, you're going to increase that defense rating, which gives him additional effectiveness from his trait. Another one is Radira, who has essentially the same kit as Mythasia at the core, and healing scales with the character's max HP. So now we're going to be looking at, after we 6-star our damage dealers, now we're going to be looking at characters that scale or ability scale off of whatever stat that they're using, whether it's defense, HP, or damage. After we 6-star the damage dealers, then we're going to go for the scaling ability characters. And then we're going to 6-star whoever needs to survive. And that basically comes into who's fine at 5-star. Well, someone like, for example, Evelyn First Dawn is not an excellent 6-star. Why? Because whatever she's doing, she can do at 5 stars. The only time you're going to want to 6-star her is if you need extra survivability. And that is, for example, Santis is one of those types of characters. She's an amazing 6-star only because she's used in so many different teams, but she actually doesn't get too much from her 6-star. She applies poison. She doesn't get extra focus from 6-starring. She doesn't get any actual stats that she uses. The only thing she gets is extra survivability. So if your characters are dying, then 6-star the units. The only time you 6-star, characters like Santis is in that case. And of course, you can use her in many dungeons. So that is kind of like a fourth bonus step. And that is if there's extremely versatile and you're using them in so many different teams, maybe you want to 6-star them to reduce their gear requirements so that you can use better gear on other characters. So for example, this is another tip for Santis, and she's using so many different teams. By 6-starring her, you reduce the gear requirement, and then maybe you can put some of that better gear on someone like William, someone like Nathalia, if you're using curse sets on both of them. So that is pretty much my entire thought process on 6-starring units. Hopefully that was helpful for some of you. And I know they're pretty simple steps, but oftentimes, you really just kind of have to think about your characters rather than just jumping into the 6-star, because they're a huge investment. I mean, I only have 12 and I've been playing for a month and a half. You can say that's actually quite fast for many games. I don't have 12 6-stars after a month in raid or anything. So despite the fact that this game gives you a ton of XP and such, you do want to be careful with your 6-stars. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you for the next one.